I mean, it was just shocking, and we just felt sick. Really, I think the whole country went into kind of just wondering what was happening. And then I think for us as Muslims, it was just that extra layer once the story started to unfold. That maybe there was some link, and maybe he'd said certain things. And I think my heart sank really just at the thought of how could somebody do something so shocking and barbaric as that in broad daylight, and then somehow try and link it to my faith. It was just unbelievable.
Because the allegations are, Haroon, that these attackers shouted, Allah Akbar, God is great, and were trying to do it in the name of Islam. How does that make you feel?
Well, firstly, I think our heartfelt condolences to the family. I think of drummer Lee Rigby, whose name's just been released. I can fully understand from the family's perspective, especially he's left a young child. It must be very distressing for the family.
But in the name of your religion, how does that make you feel?
Well, it's not in the name of Islam. I think that's part of the problem of that rhetoric. And there is a small fringe element of Muslims who are going around using this type of language. And the vast majority, as your previous guest also said, even the Prime Minister today mentioned correctly, that actually the Muslim community stands strong against this type of extremism and rhetoric.
Do you think it's doing enough? Do you think the Muslim community could do more to weed out the very few, the minority, who are causing trouble?
I mean, I think what we would say certainly today is that we need to wait for a bit more information to come out about this particular attack, who these men were, who they were mixing with. I think then absolutely anybody who's even, directly or indirectly related to this incident needs to be, brought in front of the courts, and, the justice needs to be done very quickly. I think in terms of are we doing enough, I think what I would like to see now is, I do think a lot of work's been done. I think a lot of cross-community work's been done. I think a lot of work in mosques, etc. But I think no one can be complacent. So I think once we know more about this incident, there needs to be a cross-Muslim community, across the spectrum, different groups, organisations coming together and really getting underneath this and finding out what happened, what went wrong, and how can we do our bit to make sure that something as horrific as this will never happen again.
Haroon, what do you think? And I'll put this to you as well, because one Muslim community worker has said today that there are some factions of the Muslim community in some places are potentially in denial about the problems of extremism. Do you think that person has a point or not?
I don't think it's a denial. I think people need to really understand and educate each other. And I think especially reaching out to the young people is very important.
When you say understand, what do you mean?
It's understanding what's going on around them. There are people out there, I think, within the communities coming up with this type of language. And it's not just that factor, and I think it's not just the Muslim community within the community that's a problem. It's really about, there are social issues, there are exclusion issues, disenfranchisement with them as well. So all of these things actually play a factor in the minds of these people.
Are they easy to spot? I mean, would they go to a mosque like fellow worshippers who are wonderful Muslims and law-abiding and generally have their religion in a good name? Are they easy to spot in the community?
Not really. I don't think anyone has a look of that type. But in terms of behaviour,
yes.
in terms of behaviour,
and in terms of attitude and what they're saying. Julie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is complex, so it's not something, and I think everyone's acknowledging that, and certainly today, the intelligence services, the government will also be acknowledging that it's not easy, and it seems to me from yesterday that there's obviously lots of different things being said, but it could be that it was almost a spur of the moment, so while they may have been thinking in a certain way but actually just reacted or overreacted, and something horrific came as a result of that. I'm not sure, we don't know enough on this particular case. I do think we need to analyse it and look at it, because if this is something that has happened now, which clearly it has in front of all of us, it's not something we can ignore either, and how did it happen and where. And so I think, to spot anyone, any good organisations, individuals, and it already is happening, who sees something that they know is wrong and that's clearly going down that route would report it. There's no doubt about that. It's not about denial or anything, it's just about how do you actually spot it in the first place.
And just briefly, are you both concerned about reprisal attacks or fears of that? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think people do feel vulnerable today. There's no doubt. We have seen a couple of attacks already on mosques. But I think, we need to stand, as David Cameron said today, the country needs to stand together and not be divided by extremists from any side, really.
And in a word, Haroon?
I think the same thing. I think the main thing is keeping the community safe and working with the wider community to make sure that everyone is safe. I think that's very important.
Wise words. Thank you both for joining me tonight.
Thank you.